This sisi ndio tumeleta rising roots.
Some people even believed that Raila was immortal.
Yeah.
There were stories that were being told to us when we were young that Raila once was, during the time of his detention or what, so he used to turn into fly.
Yeah.
Then,
Wow. We are so happy.
The journey begins.
The journey
The
begins.
journey begins. Journey
Yes.
begins.
yeah, the journey continues.
Sawa.
Now the minister, when he went home, now the African minister, the Kenyan minister, now he came to Africa. Now for him, it was the other way around. The foreign minister was asking him, hey, how have you achieved such a nice mansion? And yet you do not have a very good infrastructure. Then he was pointing some vast land there. You see that highway? So the foreign minister from the other country is not seeing any highway. But the African minister is saying, you see that highway over there? 100% here.
This is us. This is what has happened to us. Do you know what we have today is what was created out of the zeal of the cartographer's pen. Somebody saw the whole of Africa and drew a map.
And today we are so excited because we bring a unique episode away from the busy streets in Nairobi and our setups in Nairobi, bringing it all the way to Bondo, Kango, Jaramogi.
He taught us how to fish rather than give us fish. What he brought was a good framework, which is the 2010 Constitution. Okay, are you guys happy this morning?
Yeah.
We are super excited.
Great. So
Yeah.
what is it that makes you so glad today?
The fact that we are going to Bondo, and it is for the first time I'm going there.
Wow.
And also I'm very much excited to be wearing the theme of
Joey.
the Right Honorable.
Great. For me, it is much more, like the river and the source.
Wow.
We've been talking of a great river, but then now it's like to go and see the very place, the source of this river. And the river is now in this place. Yeah, great.
I think for me also, due to the fact that I've not gotten time to go and pay my last respects to Baba, so I'm really excited today. Also looking forward to the journey now from Awasi over here now to Bondo, really just to associate with the legacy that Baba has left behind.
Great. Yes, will you tell us?
so happy that finally we are traveling to Bondo to pay our last respects to the fallen hero.
Miss Raisins, tell us.
Yeah, for me, I think I have a mixture of both excitement, but then again nervous. I'm looking at, I'm already picturing the moment we get to that place, and you see, this is an iconic leader who just rested. He's done a lot for our country, and then just visiting, not him in person, but visiting the grave, I feel it's gonna be a little emotional. But again, it's exciting because we get to know his place, we get to know this man we have been seeing and listening to and following where he comes from. I'm also looking forward to meet the people from his village so that we can hear more about his legacy.
Great. Yes. You still let us to internalize the lessons that we learned out there. We thank you for everything. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All thanks goes to Maureen here. She's put in a lot of good work, and we know that it's going to be a very, very successful one. Thank you so much.
We are so happy.
The journey begins.
The journey
The
begins.
journey begins. Journey
Yes.
begins.
Yeah.
The journey continues.
So.
But allow me just to share a text. Allow me just to share a text that is to Timothy and telling Timothy, I have fought the good fight. I have finished. Hiyo ndio tufunge mpaka tumalizane na kuomba.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Rising Roots platform. My name is Damaklin, your host as usual, and today we are so excited because we bring a unique episode away from the busy streets in Nairobi and our setups in Nairobi, bringing it all the way to Bondo, Kango, Jaramogi. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Yes, so we traveled all the way, and joining me are three dynamic individuals who are set to discuss not only his story, but we want to look at what are some of the controversies that surrounded his life. When I say his life, I'm referring to the Right Honorable Raila Amollo Odinga. He's late now. And we shall be looking at his struggles, what are the wins he had in fighting for democracy in our country, as well as we want to look at his story. How did it impact the people he has left behind? So without saying much, allow me to give this opportunity to my people here to introduce themselves, and we shall start with Mr. Matthew here.
Thank you so much, Damaklin. Like you mentioned, my name's Matthews Herbert. I come here today as a person who has been inspired by the person of Raila Odinga, whom I've known for a better part of my life. Basically, as a young man, I see Raila in politics all the way from 1997. That is when I That's when I begin to see him actively in politics, and that is when he begins to influence my life. And so, being of a legal background, later on in life, I learned to know that whatever I used to see of him earlier in the days, later on would come to impact my life,
Wow.
literally speaking. So my being here today is that this is a person whom over time has shaped my life, politically speaking, but also a few areas in his manner of managing his affairs, being a political animal, if I would use that term, has taught me a few things about him, which today I can say I can practice. And I think we are going to have a good time to discuss these ones here. Thank you so much.
So before I cross over to Mr. Salat here and Mr. Tony, how would you describe the mood around?
Coming here today, entering these grounds, I think it, first of all, it brings reality home. What I've just been watching on the screens, today I've felt it. You remember the proverbial sayings from the good books that when your feet, would set into the Holy Land, for example, then you would get the feeling of what was just written in the books. For me, this was like a fulfillment of what I've been seeing in the screens. The mood here is such that there are delegations after delegations coming in. It shows much love that people had of him.
Yeah.
And yes, it's the mood is very, even post his death and burial, you can still see the spirit in him alive in the people who are coming in here today.
Wow, that's nice. We finally made it. It's a journey we've planned severally for
Yeah.
weeks now, and we are finally here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew, and welcome to our episode today. Good to have you.
Thank you,
We
thank you.
now cross over to Tony. Tony, karibu sana to our show. It's
Asante.
nice hosting you for the very first time. And having traveled all the way from the city to Bondo,
Yes.
what is the mood like? How are you feeling as a person?
Yes, thank you so much, Damakline and Rising Roots for having me today. I can say I was really looking forward to this journey, and I'm also glad to be here today, especially now for the first time. I've not really had time to pay my last respect to Baba, but at least now today, courtesy of Rising Roots, we are here. And generally, just the same way Chinua Achebe says in his book that a kinsman cannot be bought in the market, neither a brother with money. And that is so evident in the manner in which people are streaming in here, just as Albert has said. We are seeing delegation after delegation.
Yeah.
And really you can see that even after Baba has gone, really people really love this guy. And for me, it matters more directly to me because I'm a former student leader at the Technical University of Kenya.
Wow.
And currently I lead an organization known as Onagi Comrades Alliance. And Baba is somebody I've really been looking up to. He has really influenced the manner in which I lead, both at the institution and even outside here now. And so I really had to make time to come here today. And I'm so happy that I'm here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds so nice. Getting to hear. You see, the reason why we are here is to discuss how his life impacted other people's lives.
Yeah,
and
sure.
hearing it from you that his way of leadership impacted positively how you led the team you had is such a great story he's
Indeed.
left behind.
Yeah.
Karibu sana to the show.
Asante.
Yes, Salat, karibu sana to our show. This is your
Nikaribia,
second
thank you.
time.
Yes.
Yeah, last time I remember your name harassed me on the platform, and I promise I practiced, and right now you cannot challenge me. It's Binu Amin, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So karibu sana to the show, and yeah, the camera is yours. Introduce yourself once more.
Thank you very much, Damakline. As you have already highlighted, it's my second time appearing in Rising Roots.
Yes.
You guys have no idea how much excited I am
Wow.
to be here today at Kango Jaramogi.
Yes.
As an upcoming politician and also a youth leader, I've always been looking up to Baba and the way he has been leading and so many controversies around his political life and so many decisions that he has taken. You see, he has this name, he's called Agwambo, which in the Luo language means the mysterious one.
Yes.
So Baba was someone who was giving us a lot of anxiety. Like you couldn't wait for 2027 just because you want to hear the stance of Baba. And like he had been giving these kinds of emotions through the people who loved and supported him. And as a person and as someone who is coming up to be a leader, to take this political spectrum, I think Baba's, significance and how people loved him, and also how he loved people back, and also the decisions that he had to make so that the Kenya is where it is today, and also the love for the country, the patriotism of the late Right Honorable Raila Odinga is what inspires me. And I'm a director for nonviolence at United Green Movement Party. And one thing I must highlight today is that Baba is one of the reasons as to why we have these diverse political parties. He fought for multi-party democracy.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, he has contributed a lot. And also we're living in the realities of what he fought for. Because were it not for Baba and the like-minded individuals who were working tirelessly together to bring multi-party democracy in Kenya, I wouldn't have been here today as a director for nonviolence. So yeah, that is how I know the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and I'm very much excited to be here today.
The man who lies behind over there, where his final resting place is, impacted many lives positively. We are yet to unveil. And guys, we didn't mention that we traveled overnight just to be here. So if you happen to see our eyes are red and maybe understand, we love you so much just to sacrifice to bring you such wealthy knowledge to you or at your doorstep. So back to Mr. Tony here. You have mentioned that you have learned a lot from Raila's story. He has impacted your leadership style. Now, looking back to his life, his childhood, being raised in the family of the late Jaramogi Odinga, who happens to be the first vice president in Kenya. What are some of the traits probably you picked, you could see from him from being that young little boy that nurtured his way of leadership today? Maybe 2 traits you could mention.
Yeah. So for me, one of the traits that I would easily highlight about the great Right Honorable Raila Amollo Odinga for me, number one is how patriotic Baba has always been. And this is quite evident in the manner in which Baba has always has always sided with the people. You see, Baba, most of the times when he has been confronted with the decision of whether to choose his own personal interest, he has always prioritized the nation. When we go back to 2007, the hotly contested elections, remember Baba did not take the hard line as some of us would have wanted him to. He decided to accept and be part of what we call the then coalition agreement that then ensured that Kenya had peace. And so for me, that really stood out as to somebody who was very, very patriotic. And then Baba has always been very aggressive. You remember Baba is one person who, there have been rumors, for example, that he was not the person that had been chosen maybe by Jaramogi to maybe lead the Luo nation after Jaramogi went. But you can remember Baba took this thing head on, and there came a time even in when Baba even resigned from the position he was occupying. You see, then if you had been elected by a particular party, ODM for example, and you wanted maybe to shift allegiance to a different political party, then you had to resign and seek fresh mandate. And that is one thing that Baba has done that I've not seen any politician do to this day. And so for me, that really showed that Baba was very, very aggressive. And remember, he came for those elections, was re-elected into that position, and he was able to lead the people of Langata. And even far beyond that, we are also seeing Baba being a very, very selfless person. Not once, not twice. In 2002, Baba was able to say Kibaki Tosha and
Yeah,
was able to shelve his ambitions, you see. And we are seeing Baba has been, and this is not even for Baba alone. I tend to think that this is something that Baba might have also learned from his father. Because you remember Jaramogi also at some point was able to say that when he was asked by the colonialists to form government, he was able to say, no, I am going to wait until they release Jomo Kenyatta is when now we can form government. And so for me, those are ideologies that I would want to maybe also dear to my heart and to practice them to ensure that then the legacy of Baba lives on.
Wow. Yeah. So he has spoken there about being patriotic. Patriotic means loving his country more than his own life.
Yeah.
He has actually taken on record saying that, and we have seen severally some of the issues he has had to go through in
Yeah.
order to demonstrate that patriotism.
Yeah.
You share with us some of these examples that really demonstrated the patriotism in our fallen hero.
Thank you so much, Damakline. I think in the late Right Honorable's life, Honorable Prime Minister's life, he's a person who came out, if lack for a better word, I would say 99% patriotic. When you look at his merger with Kanu, and I don't want to sound so political, lest I water down the personality of the man I'm talking about, because there is a way in which politics tend to simplify, to oversimplify, very important issues. But when you look at him now that he was a politician, his merger with Kanu, when the interest of the nation came forward, I can remember in the words of the late Professor George Saitoti, that was the then former vice president, when the interest of the nation came up and George Saitoti came, there comes a time when the interest of a nation supersedes the interest of an individual. Yeah. I think what the late Saitoti was referring to at that point, there must have been very intense negotiations that the country at that particular moment was, quote unquote, pregnant for a direction. And that direction at that point had to be taken. And so Baba comes out and unfolds his party, abandons NDP, and goes and merges with the late President Moi at that particular time. Now, that was unthinkable at that particular moment, because we don't want to talk about the history that he had with the former president at that particular moment, but he sacrifices all his ambition and joins the Kanu party.
Just for the sake of Kenyans.
Just for the sake of Kenyans. And permit me to say at this level that that would go down the books of history because pundits would look at it otherwise. There are some people who would want to say, well, he was sacrificing for his own political interests.
Oh yeah,
but
it has been said severally.
Yeah. But again, then we would be imagining that Baba was such a powerful force that he was so sure that he would go into the ruling party, turn it upside down, and go through. No, he was not so sure. I mean, Kanu was so powerful, but he sacrificed it at that particular moment. So that was a moment of patriotism. Then later on, we have seen him do this several times. But so his political life, history has always shown that he's a patriotic man. But I think what stood for me was at the height of 2007, 2008 election, and then the ensuing post-election violence, and then there was a decision again to be made. I think if there was one time of the many times that elections have been held in Kenya that it was very clear that Baba's party and his formation won, was that particular time, 2007, 2008. And then if that time everything was on his side, he won the greatest number of seats in the parliament, and the pointing was that he was the winner of the election. But when the rubber met the road and decisions had to be made, he came out and said, for the sake of the country, let's have a sit down, with the late President Mwai Kibaki, and then they formed the Government of National Unity, which arguably has been touted as the best performing government in the history of Kenyan governments. So I would say that there would be much to say, but I would say that those are moments when he's demonstrated not only patriotism, but true leadership. Thank you.
Wow. Quite heavy there, a lot mentioned. Yes, getting back to you, Salat.
Yes.
Matthew has mentioned something here, very important,
Okay.
that probably many people outside there do not know. There was a relationship between, both of them are late now,
Okay.
Moi and Raila.
Yes.
You know, history tells us that it was Moi who detained him for around
Yes.
8 years, right?
Yes. Yes.
But when Raila came out, at some point he worked with Moi still.
Yes.
Later on, there were again conflicts here and there, political conflicts, but he shook hands with the late Mwai Kibaki.
Yes.
They still worked together.
Yes.
Come to the time of Uhuru Kenyatta, again there was a time they shook hands.
Yes.
After all the challenges they had, the misunderstandings, people lost lives, but he still came and worked with him. And we even saw recently again, he shook hands again with our sitting president, Honorable William Ruto. Now, away from what Tony said, the trait he mentioned that he was patriotic, what is this something you could say that was in Raila, that despite his wins, conflicts, he could still come and face the people they could not agree and agree to move on and work together as a government?
So thank you very much for that wonderful question. I think from the question itself, it is very much evident that Raila was a very forgiving man, and is someone who could not be taken away by emotions and what happened. He always prioritized, you know, what are we here for and what is in the best interest of the nation. Regardless of what happened between us, what transpired between, for example, like you can imagine what happened between him and Uhuru Kenyatta. Like they even had, they shot his car. Like, was it 6th time or 11th time?
Yeah, sure.
I don't quite
During that
remember.
time.
After that, they still had to share table and talk.
Yes.
And, you know, this is someone who literally wanted to kill you. You remember the time of President Moi. See, some of the reasons as why people say that Raila looks way older than his elder brother Oburu Odinga is because that he faced a lot of torture and also has passed a lot through the chambers of torture.
Exactly, yeah.
when he was in detention, and also have suffered a lot politically, and that is why he I don't know how to quote it in Luo, but there is this ngozi ya hippopotamus. What do they call? Yeah, that is what.
Pienrao.
Yeah, that is what they even call Raila. So this is someone who lets go of every. I think is one of the traits that only a few people possess. Yes, it actually very few people can forgive. Yes, they
They're
can
rivals.
they can forgive, but like rivals who have taken you to the extremes, people whom you will have never shared even table with, people whom the only thing you will have shared will have been the sunshine, or in case
The
even
air we breathe.
or even gone for an extra mile and gone for revenge. You see, you guys took me into detention. You have tortured me for this amount of time. Now that I have this, you see, Raila did not go that way. He was so selfless, and also was very much forgiving, and also was always looking forward to what is in the best interest of our country, Kenya. Yes, that is a trait that I can tell you of the question that have been posed.
Now, before we move from you,
Yes.
he was tortured, yes.
Yes.
What are some of the consequences of the torture? Do you have any maybe you've heard of or you know about?
Okay, I could not tell you the exact consequences, but I as someone who have gone through that much you know, torture, it might have shaped, you know, the reason as to why he's very much forgiving. It could be because he has gone to the extremes of violence, to the extent that he knows violence is not a solution. So I think from that torture, what he has seen in the torture chambers, he maybe that will have influenced his life and also his forgiveness and also most of his traits and character as a human being also. So it might have implanted in him a sense of, you know, there is so much beyond some few things, and also anger. You know, there's so much that can happen as a result of pain and all that. So he, and that is why they also call him the enigma, because he's always very quiet, and he talks once, and once he talks with full conviction, and he has this power of conviction that the mass resonates with him, and is always with what he says. So maybe I think as the consequences, it could be as a consequence of what he had faced in the detention. It could be his own humanly character. Yeah.
We come to Tony, still on the same question, because there has been stories going around that he was injured, the left eye. That's why when you see he keeps on, it's teary, you know. There is a way he walks. Yeah, maybe you share with us more of, could those be part of the consequences or what you went through? Is it true? And in addition to that, the same question I asked him, what was this that made Raila, away from the forgiveness bit, why would he come back and sit on the same table with someone who tortured him for 8 years? Why would he come back and sit with the president, the Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, the other president, even after he felt like they betrayed him?
Now, thank you. And for the consequence, I think there are many. And when you talk about somebody who was detained for 8 years plus, there are so many consequences. One is that you get to hear that the wife, Mama Ida Odinga, is being fired from Kenya High School. You see that Baba is separated from his family for such a long time, and you see the presence of a father in a family and stuff. We see Baba facing a lot of optical issues with the eye every now and again. Every now and again, he has to go for checkups and treatment. We are seeing even change in the kind of walking style, just as you've mentioned. And lately, even up to the run-up to his death, you see that there's still a bit of complications following to that. But one thing I know is that really helped Baba do whatever he was doing is the experience. Baba was born in 1945. So by the time all this is happening, I think Baba had like seen a lot of things, and so he was in a better position to make these decisions. But over and beyond, we are also seeing that Baba was a very mysterious person. You can't understand Baba, you see. That is why I normally say that it is going to be very difficult to replace Baba, because we are human beings and man is to error. For me, if you leave alone even imprisoning me, for me, even if you just arrest me and put me in the cell for one day, it will be very difficult for me to even engage you after that. But you see somebody who has detained you for 9 years, man, do you know what 9 years really mean? It's quite a long time to be in prison. And you know, it is just not being in prison, it is being in torture. Nyayo torture chambers are very famous for that under the regime of President Moi. But I think when Baba looks at that and also sees that even people who tortured him, like the likes of Akina Moi, and even people who Moi worked with, the likes of Akina Biwot, end up even just dying, I think Baba realized that all this was vanity. So for me, experience really stands out. And we are seeing that trend not just in Kenya alone. Look at even our neighbors just the other day, Kina Tundu Lissu. And I wanted to say that one of the consequences again is you see Baba now going into exile to at least go and try and maybe re-strategize before then he comes back.
Yes, severally.
Yeah. So he goes into exile because he's fearing for his life, and this is after several attempts on his life. So I think that was a challenge, and part of why I say this is because I had one interaction with Baba when I was serving as a student leader, and Baba continuously challenged us that you student leaders, stand up for the students that you represent. Don't go into boardrooms brokering deals when you're supposed to be standing up. And I remember on that day, it was also with the likes of Sia Governor, Honorable James Orengo was there, and even Honorable Babu Owino was there, and it was quite a challenge to us. And for me, that is something I would really love to stand by as a person of integrity and as a person who will always represent the voice of the people that I represent.
Wow. Wow, that is great. You mean you had a sit down with him in the same place, having conversations with him?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Maclean, one of the things, the reasons why I say it's going to be difficult to replace Baba is because Baba was somebody who was down to earth.
Yes.
Baba, you could easily accept him. But when I look at some of the people who want to replace Baba and to be in similar positions, they are still not at that level. The Bible says many will be called, but few will be chosen. You see, so but that day Baba just dedicated is to sit down with young people, and I think for me that was some sort of mentorship also. So we are there sharing, and I remember vividly Baba was able to take us through the journey that Kenya has taken through, right from the fight for independence at around the 1960s up to the fight for multi-party democracy, even for the referendums in 2005, for the up until promulgation of the 2010 constitution, even up to the time that we are now seeing the introduction of devolution. You know, Baba was a very strong proponent of devolution.
Yeah, sure.
Although nowadays it has been changed, it has been a loophole where people are using it to steal money.
Yes.
That is not what Baba had envisioned. Baba intended it for resources to reach the grassroots level. But what we see today is looting and embezzlement of funds. Yeah, so really indeed I'm so grateful to have been part of that gathering with Baba.
And we're actually seeing the fruits.
Yeah.
We hope you stick to that.
Certainly. I'll try.
Yeah, and honor is it wishes, or for him just to come and reach out? You know, it's like he was trying to mentor people he will leave behind.
Indeed.
Because life is, you mentioned that even seeing the other presidents coming, dying and going, so it's sort
vanity.
of vanity, you know. Now, before I get away from you, what is this one thing? Because you mentioned that this was one person you couldn't understand.
Yeah.
But look at whenever he came out to the masses, people could follow him. Like, he used to have the largest masses, even in his death.
Absolutely.
You saw, like, people could leave everything as long as they have heard Raila is coming this way, they will follow him. So from people not understanding him, being mysterious, but people still loving him, what is this that made people love him that so much?
I mean, there's just a way in which Baba played his politics, and for me, it is through that way that he was able to gain this, like, very, very loyal supporters. You know, for Baba, there were people who could easily kill. And there's a time I even had some supporters from Oma Bay saying, Mimi Baba akisema leo ni wachane na bibi yangu nafukuza.
Oh no.
You see, from Oma Bay. And so for me, there's just a way in which Baba used to connect with these people, and Baba knew how to reinvent himself. You know, there's a time in which Baba was written off. I think it was around 2017. And people say, no, Yawezi Vai, Baba cannot contest. And
then
Baba contested in 2017. He came again in 2022. And there were even speculation that Baba can still run in 2027. So there's a way in which he was able to reinvent himself.
Yeah.
Baba could take breaks when it was necessary. But one thing that really stood out was the fact that Baba always fought for those who are marginalized, the less privileged in the community. That is why even today, as we are here in Kango, Jaramogi, we have just seen a delegation from Kibra. You know why? You know why those people are here? Because Baba allowed those people to live in Kibra. You know, in Kibra, you are the one who determines what rent you pay. And it is through Baba that they were able to live in such places, you see. And that is what, you know, ODM had three things. Because Baba is ODM and ODM is Baba.
Wow.
One was the ideologies and the people that stood for the ideologies in ODM. Number two are people who brought in the resources to support the party. And then number three was the third arm, which was the masses. And it is this third arm of the ODM that was also in charge of violence. You see, so not violence in the manner that you are discriminated against, but it was violence in the sense that what Baba says is final, and you have to adhere to that. And I think you've also been able to see it even over there.
Yes.
Should you try to say anything that is contrary? And I think that is a way in which Baba was able to maintain that kind of loyal following and just fighting for the marginalized. So even the Maasai community was here the other day to also pay their last respects because Baba defended their land. When you talk about the people in Northeastern, Baba really stood for the devolution, because now resources were able to reach even those people from there. You see where Bini Salat comes from. When you go there, the people will ask you, oh, you are going to Kenya, because they believe they are not part of Kenya, you see. So I think those really stood out, and that is how Baba was able to amass that kind of following. Yeah.
Wow, wow. And Herbert, we call you Herbert, we call you Matthew, zote ni zako.
Yes.
Sawa sawa. Now, what are some of the challenges you feel Raila really faced, both in his life as a person and also in leadership?
Okay, okay. Thank you, Damaklin. I think the first challenge which I believe Baba faced in his life
Yeah.
was the institution that he was, and whether he also knew that or not, I don't know. But he was an institution, so separating himself from the institution was a problem. My colleagues here have said, and you, I didn't know you were so passionate about Baba like this. I thought I'm only the one
I
who.
mean, coming all the way from Nairobi to...
I thought that I'm the one who had the SI unit for passion for Baba. But he would come here and people would come out, you know? And he's not a president, he's not an MP, he's not anything. He doesn't hold a public office, meaning he's an institution for himself. And that really was a bigger challenge for him. Did you know that even running up to his demise in India, Kenyans still expected him to come out and speak? That when he's silent, I like what my friend, what is his name again? Is this my friend here who comes from Central Kenya? He likes saying, if Raila speaks, he's doomed. If he doesn't speak, he's doomed. If he vies, he's doomed. If he doesn't vie, he's doomed. You know? So it was an institution so hard to separate from himself. And that was quite a big challenge for him. Sometimes you could see, even in his sickness, people still expect him. In fact, I saw another great leader saying, I don't know whether it's great or lack of it, of lack of greatness thereof, saying, if he's really okay, let him come out and address the nation. You can imagine how much a person can be so much of a problem to himself that even in sickness, he still demanded of to come and speak out, you know? So that was the greatest challenge the Right Honorable faced, the Right Honorable Prime Minister faced in his life. And I think that is something that he carried up to the grave. Did you know, even in his grave, I've seen people, you know, even mourn and say, Baba, if you are really dead, come out and tell us that you have gone before you actually
that's now
go.
crazy.
You know, that was the person he was. He was an institution that people placed a lot of demand in him. And I think the other challenge which I think he faced, we must really feel for his family and Mama Ida and his children. Can you imagine? Sometimes I always thought like, how do you vie for an election, in most instances win, but you don't come home with the trophy, and you still come back to look at your wife and children and tell them, hey guys, we still have to go on. So I think that was, he must have really faced a lot of challenges when it comes to family life. But I think that is also one thing admired from him, that Raila lived a very quiet family life. And today, coming to this home, I've realized that most of the things about him were just myths. The guy was just a simple human being coming from this simple homestead. And look even at the way he has been laid to rest. Very simple. But you see, the institution that he carried made the country to sit on his shoulder. So I think that was a greater challenge that he faced, and of course the challenge of the family. Yes, I would say that.
All right. Yeah, before we move away again from you, this is a man who was in detention. We have said that.
Yeah.
This is a man who has been criticized severally, and he has also had several political adversities. The way he deals with them, beginning with the issue of detention, Salat said here, this is a man who lived with a heart of forgiveness, because without that, he wouldn't have faced the opponents or the oppressors for our country to go on. when it comes to people criticizing him, I have seen him, I don't know whether they're coming up of the vitendawili he comes up with saying nimeambiwa hivi I don't know whether it was his way of surviving. Then there is also these political adversities. We have seen him at some point when the results were announced. That was when he was in the same party with the sitting president today. And the Right Honorable Raila was vying for presidency, but Ruto was under him. We saw when it was announced Kibaki has won again, he just sat wherever he was for, they say, around 10 to 12 minutes. You know, they were waiting to be announced as winners, but then Kibaki was announced as the president. Him being the political leader of the group, he sat there for 10 to 12 minutes, stood up and walked away. He went and actually fled out of the country. Then after a few minutes, the sitting president also walked out. Now, how would you say this man, in general, from that detention to responding to criticism and his political adversity, how would you say, what is this one thing that made him to, what is this tactic he uses? The words are not coming out. That made him handle all this? Probably you respond and then we go to Salat.
Okay. That makes me to bring the other aspect of Raila.
Yeah.
Probably it is good to mention that when somebody works with a bigger goal, when the goal is so big, even in a family where you live as a husband and a wife, even in a workplace where you work as colleagues, there is that person who always comes out as the bigger brother. You be the bigger person, people say. And that always happens if the goal is so big. We say that when the goal is so big than your own personal ambitions, then you can always be able to do things beyond the comprehension of people who are around you. Because people expect you to act in a different way, but they find you acting in another way. Why? Because you are compelled by the goal which you carry. Now, this brings me to the other bit of Raila, which I would talk about. Now, Raila, other than being the patriotic guy who loved Kenya and really wished great for Kenya, is a Pan-Africanist. This was a guy who had a vision of what Africa, let alone Kenya, is supposed to be. So Raila envisioned an Afropolitical Africa or an Afropolitical Kenya. He imagined a Kenya beyond colonialist. You see the Kenya we have today, when you used to hear Raila stand up and speak, especially after an election, he went to Nyeri, it was the burial of the brother to the former Vice President Gachagua. And then there is this line he will always repeat, that tunataka kurudisha Kenya kwa gurudumu ya waanzilishi wa taifa hili, where we have plenty within our borders. And that is what he called Canaan. So he envisioned a Kenya beyond the colonialist. A Kenya whereby sovereignty does not mean dominance. Not that the state is sovereign, so it dominates over the people. He wanted a Kenya where we have plenty within our borders. When he talks about baking a national cake, he says, let mtoto wa Mturukana na yule wa Kwale apate. Na yule Mjaluo na Mkikuyu na Mkale pia afanye nini? Wapate. Now, if you have such a vision on your shoulder and the cake is always being baked and it is never enough, you don't have time to fight people who are your perceived enemies, because you get to know they are just my comrades fighting for a cause. So his goal was so big. He wanted to see a good Kenya post the colonialist. He wanted to see a Kenya that when we talk of internet, it does not become an imported idol, that our kids must always scramble to feel good that I can own internet. He wanted it to be a mode of communication. Those are the things that kept him thinking. When he thinks of digital squares, He wanted this country to be a country whereby we don't do something to look like another country. You know, when he talks of Singapore and us being on the same level at independence, the goal kept him going on. So he found no time to hold grudges because he know we must forge ahead and get this country to where our founding fathers wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I think that one was a great trait that he had, and that is why, in a nutshell, for me, made him to reconcile with people, you know, mend bridges, mend fences, and also forget about the past and move forward. Yeah, I would put it that way.
Do you feel it was his time to leave the country to
Into other hands.
die?
For me,
Was it the right time ama angeongezwa siku kidogo?
okay, that's a good question. That's a good question, Maclean. Well, from a personal point of view, I think I did not need him to die, because his vision was this. He wanted a Kenya, or better still, an Africa, where states are created out of the womb of history of Africa. This is us. This is what has happened to us. Do you know what we have today is what was created out of the zeal of the cartographer's pen? Somebody saw the whole of Africa and drew a map. Said, that is Kenya, that is Uganda, German go there, British come here, let's own this thing. Raila wanted something that is our own homegrown. Always he would talk of homegrown solutions. So in that sense, I wish he could have not died, because Raila lived to a point where he did not deserve to be a president. I can say that. He just deserved to be a statesman. And I believe if Africa goes on the right trajectory, we need to have a conclave of statesmen. When you look at countries like Italy, for example, or developed democracies, or even let's talk even about Great Britain itself, they have that protected monarchy. It doesn't rule as such, but it helps to pump wisdom to the prime minister every now and then. So I think that what Africa needs is an Africa that is grown from our own internal conversations. That is what Raila wanted. And for that reason, I didn't want him to die, because Kenya needed such a statement. That's why we called him Baba, even though he was not a president. But in a humanly speaking perspective, I think he deserved a better rest. Quoting the words of her daughter Winnie, she always says that I wished my father could just sit back and enjoy his life with his grandchildren, enjoy his family and all that. I think in God's time it came to be, but for that reason that Africa and this country needs statesmanship, I think he would have not died at this particular moment. Thank you.
Now, that was quite a lot, and wisdom reloaded. We share a lot in the sentiments you've just shared with us. Salat, you also had something to mention?
Yes.
Was it on responding on what the one thing that made Raila to be very forgiving when it comes to criticism, handle it in a joking way, and when it comes to the political adversities he went through, he still rose up and...
Yeah, I think everything about that, I think most of it have been shared by the predecessors of this talk.
Yeah.
But you see, one thing that always, you know, even after his death, I watched a certain clip of Raila talking. And that made me so emotional. You see, he has suffered a lot for what he believes in, and also what he envisioned Kenya to be. And you see, when he said the tears from the torture chambers still roll down my face, and he was using a handkerchief at the time, wiping. So, like, this is a man who had Kenya, like he has passed through a lot for this country to the extent that no human emotions could twist his stance on what Kenya is supposed to be. Yeah, but as a human being, he had some few challenges also. and also nobody is perfect. So in his lifetime, he might have stepped on one thing or the other.
Yeah, sure.
But that is well understandable since he is not. See, people expect Raila to be so perfect that he makes zero mistakes.
Mistakes.
Yes.
They forget that this is a man that was born like any other person.
Yeah, sure.
Some people even believed that Raila was immortal.
Yeah.
There were stories that were being told to us when we were young that Raila once was, during the time of his detention or what, so he used to turn into fly.
Yeah.
Then,
Wow.
yeah, there are so many conspiracy theories that revolve around Raila's human. Some people thought that Raila was supernatural,
Yes.
and some even worship him, literally. And I was talking to a friend of mine who actually, there was this guy who asked him, why do you guys worship Raila Odinga? And he was like, why not?
Oh no.
I was like,
Actually, why not?
explain, like, why should you worship a human being like yourself? And he was like, people have always worshipped some weird deities like the sun. People have always worshipped the moon. There are people who worship cows.
Cows.
Raila is not any less of a deity than a cow is. And you see, there are so many things that people actually believe about Raila Odinga to the extent that they dehumanized him. I don't mean dehumanized in a way that is bad, but dehumanized in a way that is supernatural, and also believe that he could make zero mistakes. And once he maybe have had some few mistakes, even though he was someone who was very conscious about every step that he takes, you know, you cannot be aligned with somebody like throughout. There is always one time you will be like, no way. Like for me personally, when I was now fully politically conscious, now we supported Raila for presidency. Was it in 2017? And now after that, after some time, like we actually hated, me and my family actually hated Uhuru family and Uhuru Kenyatta as a leader. Like these people, these people, that. And then we saw Raila Odinga shaking hands with him. So I was so pissed at the time. Like, we actually hated this guy because of you, and now you are coming to shake hands with him. But I think we cannot subject our own beliefs and our own political, our own values and principles on other people. Raila was a human being like any other. Raila was not any more supernatural than me and you are. So I think that is the bit that I wanted to add on what had been shared.
Wow.
But I think we've covered most of the
sure.
most of the political adversities that Raila had.
Yes.
Yes. Maybe if you allow me to go on and maybe talk about some challenges that he might have faced,
Yeah,
and also,
sure.
and
Actually, we were going there. Some of the
So I
challenges.
read your
take
mind.
it. Yes, you read my mind.
I'm a good mind reader. So Raila have faced a lot of challenges. Challenges like for a noble man like himself. There's so many. He has faced a lot of challenges from the time he was born. Some people actually think that now that he was born into a family of vice president at the time, so this guy had it all from the beginning. And you are told of stories like him being, like when his elder brother, Honorable Oburu Odinga, was sharing a story of their childhood. Now when they were going to school, and now Raila had been fleeing, being flogged by the teachers, and he was, causing a lot. Like, and also, now that he has faced a lot of challenges even from birth. It could be not monetary challenges, but could be some other challenges, like how to deal with individuals. Like there are so many. now that you are put at the pedestal of life, maybe you are born into a family of a vice president, but other people now see you, like how you interact with other people, and there are so
Yeah.
many emotional detachment that you have with people. So from then until now, when he had to pass through the detention, when he
Yeah.
had been politically relevant, when he came back from Germany, and now was teaching at that story he had been sharing of how he met Mama Aida,
Yeah.
and when he had been a lecturer, and
Yeah.
there's so many challenges that he has passed through until the last elections. And I think one of the biggest challenges that Raila had in his life was always being announced as not the winner. Even though he won, he genuinely won most of the elections. He, like that, there's so many challenges that he had. Nothing is given on a silver plate. He didn't earn his nobility and his big name by just doing nothing. He
Yeah.
earned it. It was hard earned, I will say. And yeah, that was some few challenges that
Yeah, he went through.
he went
Actually, there are
through.
not few, there are very many.
Yeah.
You know, you might mention that there were few, but when you go deep into analyzing them, you're like, wow, was
Yeah.
it worth it? Matthew here just said, even the daughter wished he spent more time with the family and the grandchildren, but he was still there fighting for people, you know, fighting for us so that we can have the freedom we are having today, even to speak. Tony, now, Tony, we can actually recall during the burial of the late Honorable Raila Amollo Odinga, the president, the sitting president, stood up and said, even though he was not sitting president, he was the people's president.
Yeah.
Why do you think he said that publicly?
That's self-explanatory, because you remember when Raila's victory was stolen in 2017, he was sworn in as the people's president at Uhuru Park. So I think it is from that backdrop that the president was even mentioning. But even besides that, I think we have seen severally that whenever Baba has called for a rally, people turn up in large numbers.
Yeah.
And I think that is part of the reason why we also say that Baba was a superpower. Baba was a demigod. Baba could make people, you see, for demonstrations, myself, I found myself in demonstrations. I don't even know how. When I was back in Kisumu Boys at Form 3, there's a time we were having demonstrations against IBC. And there's just a way in which once you start hearing the calls and the cries and the frimbis na hizo vitu zingine zote, you just find yourself moving from this point to the other point. Within no time, you find yourself in the middle of the demonstration. I remember there was a point when I was in Form 3 when someone was actually even shot beside me when we were doing the demonstrations against IBC. So I think that for me is really what showed us that it could have actually been some spirit of some sort, you see. So the president, in full recognition of this, mentioned that then Baba was the people's president. Aside from that, I also have a feeling that the president was also playing politics. We are headed towards the 2027 elections. Part of the reason why the state is giving Baba a decent send-off is not because they are doing him a favor. Baba was far bigger than that. But of course, they are also trying to play into the politics of 2027. So that then in the coming days, you are going to hear somebody come and say, and I'm not mentioning names, that you see, I really loved Baba. I even gave him a state burial. And because of that reason, I am part of you and stuff. Remember, so that is basically for political expediency. And we expect to see it not just from the president only. You even saw the people, the experts that were given to government, mentioning how they have been orphaned. It is because these people were in government courtesy of the Right Honorable Raila Amollo Odinga. And just as you mentioned, you were discussing challenges with Binyamin. I also remembered that part of the challenges Baba faced was being misunderstood most of the times. And there are also people around Baba who took advantage of Baba's stature to do certain wrong ills. So most people would really blame Baba, yet it is not him who was solely responsible for that. The manner in which party primaries were done, you see that somebody was really very popular on the ground, but because maybe he lacked financial resources and because he had proximity to some certain close people within the ranks of ODM, then you find that he was given the party ticket. You see people who would easily win genuinely, but they were twisted and their tickets given to some other people. Now these people who are aggrieved would blame it on Baba, and Baba most of the times would not be confront his critics. Baba will most of the times keep quiet. In some instances, you just see him ignore that, and I think that is part of the challenges that he faced. But the death of Baba is going to be consequential. Even as I finish, we are seeing most of the people saying that we are orphans and orphans. It is not just orphans literal in the sense that they are orphans, they don't have parents. No. They are orphans in the political balance. Why? Most of the positions they have applied, they have gotten, it is courtesy of the relationship with Baba Raila Amollo Odinga. So these people are seeing Baba going and they are wondering, who is now going to hold my hands? You know, in Nyanza, it is a practice that when Baba just raises your hand this way, you are 90% done with the elections. Because people trust Babas. There was even one who said that, Mimi, I am not going to read the constitution. Once Baba reads it, I will understand. You see, so that is how, that is the kind of trust that people had for Baba Raila Amollo Odinga. So for me, I'm really waiting to see how politics is going to shape up in the coming elections. But I know it is not going to be business as usual.
Yeah, as you even close it up, what are some of the maybe most significant contributions Baba made,
I could mention a
both
lot.
as a country and also in Bondo?
In Bondo, it's quite a challenge because I've not seen a roundabout on a lighter note. But when you talk about Kenya in general, I think that Baba was doing it deliberately. He was not focusing on Bondo per se. Baba used to focus more on the areas that were not associated with him. So if you look at Kenya in general, you can talk about devolution, for example, which came to the creation of 47 county governments with a county governor, a county assembly, and then the national government. Where we have now 15% of the national revenue going into the counties. We are seeing the promulgation of the 2010 constitution. You know, when I had the Gen Zs castigating Baba last year, I was just laughing because even that space within which you are trying now to even criticize the current government, it is what Baba has fought for. The multi-party. Bini Amin here is a member of the United Green Movement Party. Had we not have that struggle for multi-party democracy today, it would not be existing, you see. And in terms of infrastructure, we have even said it. When Baba was part of the Grand Coalition government is when you are seeing the creation of the Thika Superhighway, which revolutionized the amount of trade and intensified even trade around Nairobi and its environment. I could go on and on, but I know this is maybe in terms of time we are limited, but Baba has had immense contribution in this country. And even in terms of highlighting corruption scandals. That is why people trusted Baba, because Baba would come and say, they have stolen this, this, and this. And then people would start drawing interest. Oh, so money was here, and money has been stolen. But even as I conclude, there's one famous quote that Baba used to quote so many times. Not a quote per se, but Baba used to give an example of two officials. An African minister of transport and a minister of transport from a developed country where this African had visited the foreign minister in their country, you see. And these guys had done a very nice highway, and now the African was asking, how did you do this thing? And then the minister was saying, you see that highway, that's 90%. And then he had a very nice palatial home, a mansion. And then he was saying, 10% is here, but 90% is in the highway. Now the minister, when he went home, now the African minister, the Kenyan minister, now he came to Africa. Now for him, it was the other way around. The foreign minister was asking him, hey, how have you achieved such a nice mansion? And yet you do not have a very good infrastructure. Then he was pointing some vast land there. You see that highway? So the foreign minister from the other country is not seeing any highway. But the African minister is saying, you see that highway over there? 100% here. So meaning the guy had stolen everything to build there. So I think Baba was just trying to put into context how corruption was really bringing Africa down.
Wow.
Corruption is one of the biggest things that we are dealing with as a country. And it is because, you see, corruption, it's because of corruption that we are here as a country today. Otherwise, we will have been if not much better than Singapore, will have been at the same point with Singapore. Even China, at some point, we were having a bigger GDP than China itself, sometimes after independence. But you see, the reason as to why we are here is because we are losing about, was it 4 billion to corruption? President Uhuru Kenyatta back in the days told us. And you see, issues of corruption, Baba used to talk about it so openly, and also had been
Without fear.
yeah, without fear, and also have talked about it very many times, and also have we have seen so many things. Actually, some people are now saying that Baba was the fourth arm of government who was actually putting the government in check. Like you fear Baba to the extent that maybe you want to take a certain stride somewhere that is not good for the country. But you know that there is somebody else in the room. There is the fourth arm of government that will come and question you for that. So I think the issue of corruption was so big to this country. Unfortunately, we did not achieve much during Raila's time, but we can see a lot of contribution that we have made
Yeah,
for
sure.
tangible progress that we have as a country. And also, when we compare ourselves with those big economies, we should not also forget that we are also, as a country, Kenya, somewhere, that we are far much better than most of the East African countries and also
Exactly.
the African continent in general. We are not perfect as a country, but
Yeah.
but we see, I think the Right Honorable Raila Odinga have contributed a lot to this country in terms of, I was in another country like a month ago, within Africa though, and it is ruled by a dictator. So my colleagues from that country asked me, how did you guys achieve that much, freedom of expressions? I can see you guys can even criticize the government.
You should have said it's Baba.
You said you talk so much about your government to the extent that everybody is having freedom of expression. The government could do nothing. And I literally told him we have one of the most progressive constitution and one of the most elaborate constitution in the whole world. So it is because also it all now comes back to Raila Odinga in one way or the other, even though the promulgation of the constitution was a national issue. Raila Odinga has played a very big part in it, and also the evidence that we have for that is that it was done when the Right Honorable was the Prime Minister of the country. So yeah, that is the bit that I just wanted to add on to that.
All right, still on the same thing. Briefly, what vacuum do you think he has left in the political landscape?
I think he has done a lot for the country, that I cannot deny. But I think he is, even if he would have been alive, I think he should have had, like his daughter said, back from politics and done,
Rest.
yeah, and maybe contribute from a veteran perspective. But I think I believe there are so many Kenyans who have the potential of taking the country to the next level and also filling his position. There's so many people actually. I'm a member of the presidential campaign of David Maraga, Honorable David Maraga, the former Chief Justice.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so I think now that one of the biggest problem that we have is the lack of rule of law and constitutionalism, and everything comes back to the rule of law and constitutionalism. I think could be a figure that we could lean on, because he's also an old man like himself, have had clear past, even though he was the president of one arm of government, that is the judiciary. Like we have a lot of people as a country, and also as Gen Zs. You see, I sometimes wonder when some Gen Zs say, Baba is not doing anything. Baba is not, like, during his time, when he was a university student, he was coming out and challenging the sitting president and doing a lot of stuff. You cannot compare yourself, most of Gen Z's lifestyle today with the life that he had when he was their age. A lot of achievement at the time. So why are you talking about an 80-year-old man, a 75-year-old man, when you can pose yourself, when you can come out and do exactly the things that he used to do? So I think the vacuum is there, but also I believe we have so many potential Kenyans who can take up the role and play a very, very good strategy on how we are going to move this country forward.
Just a minute, or less than a minute.
Okay.
Had Raila been given the opportunity to be president, what would have changed?
A lot of things. Probably would see a lot of reorganization. We've seen Baba severally talk about scrapping off CDF and transferring that money into devolution and into county governments. As of now, we know that county governments are being mismanaged a lot, and also seeing them struggling in terms of finances. Baba has continuously been pushing for the increase of the allocation from 15% to maybe probably 40 or 45%. So I think that would be one of the things Baba would really focus on. Baba has also talked about compensation of people who've suffered historical injustices, the victims of protest. I think that is one of the areas he would really prioritize. And then also on electoral malpractices, that is something that Baba would have really formed maybe a task force to handle. And then lastly, maybe in terms of police reforms, the transformation of our police force into a police service, so that then we do not see a lot of cases of police brutality. And then in terms of how we recruit our police officers, how we train them and stuff. And I think a myriad of all other issues I may not talk about. But one thing that really stands out about Raila Odinga, even as I finish, is how Baba was well versed with the continental issues of Africa. How Baba could mention to you the cities from right from Benin in West Africa, the Chad, the Central African Republic, down to South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, up to Egypt, Tunisia, Morocco, and into East Africa. And so Baba was a great Pan-Africanist that we shall greatly miss. About the vacuum, I know. But I want to disagree slightly disagree with Benjamin that there are other Kenyans who can fill that gap. There is no Kenyan who can fill the gap that has been left by Baba. And I foresee a scenario where we are going to see a bit of high-handedness, especially by the current regimes now that Baba is not there, because who would be calling them out? Yeah, so I think we'll miss Baba dearly, and I just want to also take this moment to condole with the rest of the Kenyans and to say that indeed Baba has left us, but we've got a legacy to protect. Let us stand together in unity and to protect the great country called Kenya. Thank you.
Wow. If you were to speak on behalf of Baba, or assuming he was still alive, one more time, what message do you think you could give the youths?
Thank you.
Or on his behalf, what message are you giving the youths?
You're making
The spirit of Baba
Reincarnation.
a reincarnation of
you're making me to step on a shoe that I'm not worthy to step in. But just to say one thing, the Gen Zs, the youth of this country, I think Baba has given you the baton. The baton is already passed. What has been passed to you is devolution. Baba worked so hard to slay certain dragons, which I think he has slayed them well. One was the dragon of tribalism.
Yeah.
And then now we are talking about the dragon of corruption, which keeps on rearing its head after every election. But how did he slay these dragons? He taught us how to fish rather than give us fish. What he brought was a good framework, which is the 2010 Constitution, which is hailed all over the world as the best document. I think in Africa it is the best, majorly because of its chapter on devolution and the chapter on human rights, which my friends have really labored to explain so well. Let the Gen Zs protect the Constitution. In the words of a young man called Kasmuel, he always says, there's nothing much which needs to be done. Let's just follow the law. Protect the Constitution, follow the law, and most things will actually happen. Principles of good governance like the rule of law, the supremacy of the separation of powers, the independence of the judiciary, and that whole area of separation of powers has been provided for you in the Constitution. Right now, for the first time in Kenya, you find that the MCA who presides over your roads is an uncle from your village. He doesn't come from anywhere.
Yeah.
You find that an MP who presides over your legislation is actually a man whom you went to school with. I know like my area MP went to a local high school, and I know many of his friends. For the first time, you're finding that your governor is your next door neighbor. Now, let's now stop the mapambano. Let's go push these guys to deliver on the promises of the Constitution. Like it has always been said, the problem is with the leadership. It's not. I think we are over legislated as a country, and that is something that Baba has bequeathed us. Baba, resting in peace, wants the young people to take up the mantle, and let's see that the letter and the spirit of the Constitution is implemented. That's number one. Over and beyond our countries, Baba knew one thing, that colonialism simply changed the flag, but it did not edit the grammar of power. So the major problem that we will ever face as young people in this country, and even in Tanzania and elsewhere, is that after every election, we take 3 years and then we start blaming the government in power because we are still using the model that was bequeathed to us by our colonizers.
Yeah.
Okay? If we have to move forward and honor his legacy, the attempt to rewrite that was by giving us the counties. In other countries, they are doing it differently. But let's so much push that these counties that we have helps us to rewrite the grammar of power. He used to make a joke by saying, hii simba yenye tuko nao saa hizi ni simba kibogoyo, tulishamng'oa meno. Polisi sahi hafai kukutana na wewe na kukushika. Serikali sahi hawezi kaa pale Nairobi na ngurume akuja ati huyu anafanya nini hapo na chief akushike, kwa sababu ni simba imeng'olewa meno. Na nani? Na raia. How? By domesticating our own wishes and powers and sovereignty in the Constitution. So that is what he left for us. He wants us to implement that so that we rewrite the grammar of power. When we do that, we are going to have very safe spaces to live in. You will not even care who is the DO or the provincial, you call them right now, the county commissioner, who is putting on what crown, because it will be a safe space to live in for everybody. That is what I can tell the youth. Baba loves us so much. Let him rest in peace. But let's pick the mantle. Let's ensure that the Constitution is implemented. Let's love our neighbors. Tribalism has no role in present-day politics. Corruption will end when we put our leaders to accountability, and the tomorrow belongs to the young people. Thank you so much.
So I would like to finally conclude by saying that most people refer to the young people and say that we are the leaders of tomorrow, and that is very wrong. We are not the leaders of tomorrow, we are the leaders of today. And in case we are the leaders of tomorrow, then tomorrow is today. So I would like to urge all the young people, especially the Gen Zs, to take the initiative and not to point fingers to our old people, or even people who are in power, and all those people. Many other generations before us came up with something. We can say the millennials during their time, when they were our age and stuff, were fighting for multi-party democracy, which is a reality today. So let us also take up the initiative. We are not special about in any way, only that we have the advent of technology aiding us and all that. We are not more intelligent than the rest of the generations. We just have to a little bit take a step further by taking advantages of what we have, and also transform the country for better. Thank you very much. You can find me on social media platforms. My name is Binoamin Salat, across all the social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, X, Maverick Binyam on YouTube, and Binyamin Salat on Instagram too. Thank you very much. It had been a pleasure. Thank you very much also for having us here today.
You're welcome. Always a joy to have you. So allow me to end it at that. We will be sharing where you can find Matthew, where you can find Tony in our video, just for the interest of time. We are very happy to have had come this far to have our episode at the home. We are here also to explore. We shall be sharing our videos from one point to another. We are actually planning to go and visit Mama Ida mwenyewe. Hopefully we get to reach to her. And I would also like to close it up by saying we are so grateful as a platform because we are finally at 600 subscribers, headed to 700. So we continue to urge you to share our platform. Let as many people subscribe. We are targeting 1,000 sai, and we are very sure we are gonna get there as soon as we can. So thank you so much. Keep watching. We are bringing more unto you, and we hope to inspire, evoke growth, and also bring everyone on board to a common goal, which is what we are looking at. At Rising Roots, we say setbacks are actually setups for greater beginnings. See you in our next video.
Wow.
It was one of the best episodes there.
Thank you so much.
How do I say?
Thank you for having us.
It was my pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. We love you. We will keep on calling you.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing freely. We are not paying you anything, but you came. Thank you,
you very
Salat.
much
And
for
we wish you all the best. He is actually vying, so we will be right behind you. He is soon graduating. We will come to that graduation.
Thank you very much.
Just as comrades.
Yes, thank you very much.
Sawa.
Thank
Pleasure having you
Asante
for the
sana.
very first time.
Okay.
And thank you so much for coming. And we're going to look for you
Absolutely.
and call you again and again. And we're wishing you all success, everything. We need you to go to rise to those political ranks so that you can bring what Raila taught you.
I'm taking all the blessings.
Sawa.
Asante.
Karibu sana.
And whenever there will be a chance to come and dispense wisdom,
Yes, please come
don't hesitate
to call you.
to call us.
Definitely.
We are available.